We're back on Country Pocket. We've got Neev. The new album is Katherine, and the song you just heard was called Without Warmth. It is a really special one for me because I think you do such a beautiful job of capturing two people sort of stoking this burning out fire of a relationship. And I just wanted to ask, do you know what it's like to be putting in that type of work?
I think I do. Yeah, I think the song ultimately is about vulnerability, right? And I think um it definitely is. If you're at this sort of end of a relationship like that, that's probably where you feel you're most vulnerable, because you're probably like suffering in the relationship more than you're enjoying it. So you kind of just feel like this exposed nerve all the time. So I think that's kind of what the song I was trying to capture in the song, and like my experiences of that, of like feeling like, right, well, this is like way more pain than it is enjoyment at this stage. So like, where does that leave me, you know? And like the discomfort of vulnerability, and that it's sometimes really hard to like marry that vulnerability with your image of yourself. So I think those are my experiences of that song. Yeah.
And ultimately, it sounds as though the character in the song is leaning towards letting someone go, but in such a loving way.
Yeah, I think that basically what the song is trying to propose is that like the love for the person is much more important. Like ultimately, like your care and nurturing for that person like trumps everything else in this situation, and in these like mixed up emotions and memories, because I think that the sort of baggage that comes with spending time and having experiences with a person is that you feel like you have to like hold on to those things in a really petulant way, even if the way you're holding on to them might not be useful. So I think that's kind of what the chorus of the song is trying to do, is be like, right, bottom line, kindness is like, and love are the most important things here. So how do we move forward knowing that, you know?
Yeah, you talk about how a lot of the album is coming from this sort of self-centered voice, but you have songs like Without Warmth and Out of the Blue that just it seems as though there's such a clear understanding of what's going on, and it just they sound like they're written by a different person almost.
I love that. That's like a really lovely observation. And I think you're right. I think actually there are moments of like clarity within Catherine, and there are moments where you're able to step back. And I told, yeah, and that was especially intentional with Out of the Blue, because it's right at the end of the album, and it's kind of meant to be the sort of cathartic release of like, despite all of these conflicting people within this project, you know, there can be clarity, and there can be like you know, a movement onwards.
Yeah, for me, Without Warmth is the catharsis, even though it came so early in the album.
For sure.
I don't know, it felt so strangely healthy for such a fraught topic. And is framing a breakup in that way, that you're doing it out of love, sort of part of making it easier to move on?
um I think it's just part of processing. So yeah, I mean, all songwriting for me is processing, and I like being able to concentrate these very specific emotions and like just focus in on them, and you know, even if um they're not grounded in logic or fact, it's just about, yeah, focusing on that feeling. So yeah, it's like an ultra processing, really. It's like processing on concentrate, you know, and being able to just think about like, why is it that this feeling is so vivid here at this moment in time, and just like dwell in that. I think that's very cathartic. Yeah.
Well, I always have the guest pick a song to close the show. Only rule is it can't be one that you were involved in creating. And I'll give a little prompt for you. Today I want you to choose a song written in sort of the same way that a lot of Katherine is, in that it comes from a voice that isn't necessarily coming at things the right way.
I have the perfect song in mind, actually, that I was just listening to, and I'm just going to make sure that I get the correct way of saying her name. I'm going to pick the song Hunter by Becca Mancari or Becca Mansari. I'm not 100% sure. It's a C. And it's a song, yeah, it's a song called Hunter. And it's these kind of lyrics about almost like it sounds almost like a serial killer. It's about someone hunting someone down and leaving them like letters and in the mailbox. And it feels very fictional and otherworldly. And I love that it's got this very like fictional line of writing, but it's ultimately about obsession and like hyperfixation. And so, yeah, I think maybe that was a big inspiration for songs like The House, where you kind of create this huge, big gothic world to translate to an emotion that's quite simple and that we all feel. So, yes, Hunter by Becca Mancari.
All right, I did not see serial killer being the end of this interview, but that's where we're leaving it. Neev, thanks so much for coming on the show.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me.
The new album, the debut album, is called Katherine.